GOP frontrunner Donald Trump at a rally in New Hampshire last night, urging voters to get to the polls. In fact, get there early so that they can vote in February. Now, he's also launching a major ad blitz that could cost up to $2 million each week. He wants to ramp up this support. But get this now, many of Trump's supporters are excited at these rallies. Long lines, huge crowds, 20,000 people. But for the most part, overwhelmingly, they don't traditionally vote. Trump dominates with the less likely voter out there. Among the regular Republican voter, take a look at this graph. He's in third place. So, will his supporters actually show up at the polls? Joining me now, Liz Peek, columnist for thefiscaltimes.com. Carrie Sheffield, Opportunity Lives, a senior writer. And back with us, former Senator Scott Brown and Steve Rogers. Liz Peek, you know, so far Donald Trump has turned conventional wisdom on its ear. Sure. And this will have to be the final coup de grace, if you will, of dismissing everything that most pundits thought they knew about the election cycle, the process, getting non-voters to vote.
But I think he will. What we have seen is that Trump followers are absolutely dedicated, no matter what he says, no matter what group he attacks, what he does, stand on his head in a meeting, can't even remember the date of the primary. They are so devoted to him. The skepticism comes from surveys that show, as they said in the brief, that they're not regular voters. But I think that's because a lot of them haven't been engaged prior to this. I think also a lot of them are independents and even Democrats. The demographic for Trump is white, middle-aged men who are sore as can be about the losses of jobs. They're union people. They're not highly educated and not high earners. Those sound like Democrats to me.
Actually, they are, and that's why Bernie Sanders has been appealing to Trump people, which to me speaks volumes. That should be a red flag, people. The fact is that Sanders and Trump want government. They want big government. They want socialized medicine. They want trade protectionism. This is not true conservatism. This is not true republicanism. And it's smoke and mirrors. And I don't think that they're going to show up in the levels.
You don't think they'll show up?
I think they'll show up, but I don't think it's going to be this wave that he's been promised. I mean, he's been giving smoke and mirrors. I think that's what he's going to get in the ballot box.
I will say, though, Steve, you know, so far, and we keep saying it'll happen sooner or later, we'll get details on some of these plans, these economic plans, these fiscal plans. So far, all we know is we're going to have a big, beautiful wall with a nice door. But other than that, you know, I don't know what kind of a trade war we're going to have. I don't know what kind of anything else we're going to have with respect to the numbers. How are we going to get prosperity back to Americans? But people don't care. His followers aren't asking for those details.
Well, I believe details will follow, but let me just say this. There will be a wave. There'll be a wave so strong, so powerful of people, as Liz said, have never been engaged in the process. I've talked to people of all age groups and ethnicities. They're excited about wanting to get this election over and done with and getting this man in the White House. And so when we look at these polls, we got to keep in mind, all right, that new people are getting engaged.
Senator Brown, you won one of the biggest political upsets in history. You did it the old-fashioned way. You hopped in an old truck and you went from city to city to city to city to city to city to town to town to town. You drove through Sagebrush, Tumbleweed. You shook hands with every single person in the entire state.
Twice.
Twice. And now this would mean that you don't have to do that anymore if you have if you have a certain amount of celebrity.
Right. So here's my feel in New Hampshire. You have different demographics. You have Republicans, Free Staters, Tea Party, fiscal, social conservatives, all the way down to the ultra liberal Republicans, and they're not agreeing. They're infighting. They're fighting for scraps right now, and they will not support and unite as we're talking about. They'd rather give a vote to Hillary. And you ask them, well, what about if Donald? No, I'll vote for Hillary. That being said, you have a lot of his people aren't even registered to vote, so they need to register, obviously. Number two, they need to actually get out to vote. And how do you do that? Well, first of all, you got to get the ground game going, and he's spending money on TV. With respect, it's going to be saturated. There's white noise there between the Senate race that's going on and all the super PACs that are already up. I'm there. You see it every day. I would take that money and go right to the ground game and just get the bus.
But I would say also, if he does pull us off, it will be the Reagan Democrats that make the difference.